Hello, my name is Catherine Bogle, and welcome to Game of Thrones Mondays. So as you can see, we're in a new location. I am back home, and before I start this video, please excuse my bedraggled appearance. This is my post-moving day appearance, so I really need to go shower. And today I get to sport my Daenerys poster that I got for my birthday, and my Targaryen mug, so that's really exciting. So I'm gonna jump right into the episode here. The episode starts with Arya looking super impressed. She takes this giant ass rock and sneaks up on the Hound, and she's about to smash him, and then the Hound is obviously awake and he's just kind of like, I'll give you one shot, girl, and if you don't take it, I'm gonna break both of your hands, and she kind of thinks better of it. So they take off, and the Hound starts telling her a bit about Sansa and how he saved her and stuff, and of course Arya doesn't believe him, but she should, because he did. And I just really wish she would, because she's putting the Hound as such a villain, and he's really not. And then we find out that the Hound is taking Arya to the twins, because of course that's where Robb and Catelyn are. And so I just liked this opening scene, because it was actually kind of interesting and cute, and I kind of want their relationship to develop or something, because this is an interesting little grouping here. I never expected them to be together. And then we find out the reason for the episode name. Dany is watching these men ride around in front of young Kai, and they're called the Second Sons, and they're contracted to protect it, so they get paid for this. And it's led by Meryl, the Titan's bastard or something, whatever that means. And Jorah advises her of how dangerous they are, and of course Dany actually makes the really wise decision of why not bring them on board instead, because you can't collect money from dead bodies. So then she decides she wants to speak to the captains, and then we go back to her camp, and then the three captains come, and the first guy is the biggest asshole I've ever seen, and he's treating her like any other freaking woman. Do you know who you're talking to right now? You're talking to Daenerys Stormborn Targaryen, Queen of Dragons. If she wanted, she could call out one of her dragons, and all she has to say is Dracarys, and you'd be all up in flames. The freaking nerve of this guy, and he's so vile, and he's talking oh, I just can't believe he's addressing Dany that way. So Dany handles herself really well, though, and then one of the other captains' names, I think his name was Darion or something, and he seems really smart, and he seems different from the other two, less vile and less I don't know, brutal. So Dany finally makes her offer, and the leader dude is just freaking disgusting, and ugh, I just did not like him at all. So then Mel and Gendry arrive back to see Stannis, and Melisandre is being kind of really freaking creepy as always, but she's trying to take care of him and stuff, even though she's just gonna kill him or something at some point, and it's just oh, you're so creepy. And then we go down to the dungeon with Sir Davos, and he's trying to read, and oh my gosh, it's so cute. And he actually is doing really well, and he is getting through this children's book or something, and good for you, man, learning how to read. So then, surprisingly, Stannis comes to see Sir Davos, because he's kind of been the traitor or something here, so Stannis finally comes to see him, and he kind of forgives him, and he says sorry about your son and stuff, and it's kind of a weird scene. And Stannis is telling him about how they're gonna sacrifice Gendry, and he's just not being respectful at all. You're such a jerk. Stannis is up here on his high horse talking about how it's his duty to kill Gendry, and it's are you freaking serious? You have no idea. I know some of you guys really like Stannis. Fuck him. I'm sorry. I don't like him. He's probably portrayed way differently in the books, I'm sure, but I hate him in the show. He is such a freaking douche. Don't get me wrong, he's not up there with Tywin and Joffrey yet, but it's a really easy slope to fall down in this show. And then we find out Stannis is gonna release Sir Davos, which is good because he doesn't deserve to be down there. And Sir Davos has to promise that he'll never raise a hand to Melisandre again, and oh, whatever, like, freaking, I want Sir Davos to freaking kill her, but you know that's not gonna happen. And then Stannis goes on to say how he had a vision about, in the flames, about, like, this battle in the snow, and then he's convinced now that the Lord of Light is real, and I just don't give a crap about you, Stannis. And then we're back to young Kai, and we're with the 3 captains, and they're discussing what they're gonna do, to Dany, and it's really stupid and gross. And they end up taking these 3 coins, and there's like this prostitute woman like hands them out, and then so Darian's the one who is going to go kill Dany in her sleep, and that works out real well. Then we're back to King's Landing, and we're with Sansa, and Tyrion is coming to see her. And they're like really awkwardly complimenting each other, and it's really freaking awkward and weird, and they need to, I don't know, they need to like stop this. Then he has to speak to her alone, and then he tells her that, like, he knows how she feels, and he didn't want this either, obviously, so they kind of bond here a little, I think, even though respectfully neither of them knows how each other really feels. And he promises that he'll never hurt her, and it's actually really cute, because I think Tyrion would actually, he'd be the best Lannister to be stuck with, but, well, I don't know, Jaime's getting better now too, so Jaime would also be a good choice, which, by the way, they're not in this episode, and that made me really sad, because I wanted to see what was happening with them. Then we have Cersei and Marjorie talking, and Cersei's just not impressed at all, and she's just, like, being a dick, and she literally threatens Marjorie, and Marjorie's just kind of like, what the frig is your problem? Like, and it's just because Marjorie says that they're gonna be sisters, and it's like, you guys are freaking weird. And then the wedding's gonna begin, and enter Sansa through these great big doors. And then Joffrey waltzes up, and he's like, oh, well, since your father's dead, I'll give you away at your wedding. And it's like, you're creepy and gross, stop. Like, you can't help but feel so bad for Sansa. Like, she's going through all this shit, and then she has to marry Tyrion, and it's just like, gross and stupid, and I really want someone to come save her, and I really hope Jaime gets there soon and is good on his promise, and he brings her home to Catelyn. So Joffrey just continues to be a douche, and in his douchery, he goes and he takes the stepping stool that Tyrion needed, and he brings it down with him and his mother and Tywin, and they're, of course, just kind of like, seriously. And then they start the ceremony, and then Tyrion's supposed to put on the cloak around Sansa, but he can't, and so she has to, like, bend down so he can put it on. And it's just really embarrassing, because there's, like, people laughing in the crowd and stuff, and, like, Joffrey, you are such a douche. Like, what is the point of that? Like, you're such a dick. So then the wedding starts, I guess, like, goes on with the ceremony and stuff, and then we skip to Gendry, who's looking really lost in this really nice room of his. So then Mel comes in and she offers him wine, and then she has to take a drink of it to prove it's not poison, and then so he starts downing the wine, and then she starts, like, touching him, and you're like, ew, no, stop, Gendry, like, push her away, like, she's gross. But of course she's really hot, and he's a guy, so he's not gonna. And then Mel says something about, like, the Lord of Light wanting this, and it's just, like, the whole time I'm just like, oh my god, stop. This is weird and gross, and then she starts, like, undressing him, and then she gets naked, and puts him on the bed, and it's just gross. Then they start having sex, and the whole time I just wanted to stop. And then she, like, ties his hands to, like, the bedpost, and then gets off and ties his feet, and then she takes out this, like, container thing and starts taking out these leeches and putting them on his body, and he's just kind of like, whoa, like, what the fuck is going on? And she's just really gross. So then Stannis and Sir Davos come in, and they're just kind of like, what the hell's going on here? And then Mel saying something about how, like, Davos wanted proof, and, like, here it is, and she takes the leeches off and puts them in the fire. She says one for Robb Stark, one for Balon Greyjoy, and one for Joffrey Baratheon, so I'm feeling something's gonna happen there, which would actually be really interesting, so I'm actually excited to see what happens there. And we're back to the wedding, and Tyrion is drunk as fuck. Like, he is smashed out of his face, and it's really embarrassing. Then Olenna is explaining, like, the weird family dynamics they're about to have going on, and, like, even she isn't sure of all of them, because it's really weird, because you're marrying a sister and a brother brother to two people in the same family, so it's really freaking weird. So Loras does not seem freaking pleased whatsoever, and he ends up leaving and going upstairs. And then Tyrion is just still making a fool of himself, so Sansa gets up to leave to like go somewhere, and then Joffrey gets up and follows because he's scary as shit, and Cersei does too. And then Tywin goes over to Tyrion and he wants him to like impregnate her and stuff. And like Tywin is really pissed, but it's actually kind of funny though because he's really pissed and Tyrion's really drunk and it's just hilarious. So in the 2 seconds that Loras goes to speak to Cersei, she's fucking rude as usual. So then Joffrey comes up behind Sansa being scary as shit, and then he says how he like when Tyrion passes out from all the drinking and stuff, maybe he'll pay her a visit this night, and of course she looks scared as shit, because that's freaking scary, and then he's like, he realizes that she doesn't want it, and he's like, oh, well, don't worry, my guards will hold you down, like, rape! Fucking scary! No! Go away, Joffrey! No, literally no one likes you, not even your mother or your grandfather. You just need to go die now. I hope whatever Melisandre did was some curse that put on you and you die. Even though I don't think you will this early in the show, but I just hate you so much. So then Sansa's forced to return to the friggin' dining hall or whatever, and Joffrey continues his douchery and he says he wants the bedding ceremony. And then, of course, like, Tyrion's way too drunk for that, so luckily him and Sansa end up kind of getting away, and it's alright. But Tyrion does threaten Joffrey, but luckily him and Tywin kind of play it off as, like, a joke. Like, I think they both know how much of, like, loose cannon Joffrey is, and everyone has to, like, walk on stepping stones around him, and it's not good. So after Tywin diffuses the situation and Tyrion is still smashed out of his face, he kind of stumbles back to the room and Sansa of course goes with him, and Sansa of course is looking still like scared and like not really sure of herself. So they get back to the room and Tyrion's still stumbling around and he asks her how old Sansa is and she says she's 14. I thought she was a little freaking older than that. Like, I forgot that in the first season she was only 12, but like 14. Like, no one should be sleeping with each other at 14. Like, that is scary. So then Sansa kind of wants to do her duty, though, and she, like, takes a bit of wine, and then she starts undressing herself by the bed, and Tyrion just kind of realizes, like, he can't do this. Like, he can't. And Tyrion tells her to stop, and that he won't share her bed until she wants him to, and she says, what if she never wants him to? And he says, like, kind of like, that's fine. Like, that's really good of you, Tyrion. Like, thank you. Like, Sansa's a little girl and like she does not like deserve this to be happening, and I'm glad that you're such a good person. Like, you were the perfect Lannister to get stuck with. So we're back to the Unsullied camp, and then Dany's taking a bath and her servant's telling her how she can speak 19 languages. Like, holy crap, 19 languages. Like fluently. Like, I could speak 2 languages fluently and a bit of another one, but that's ridiculous. Like, she even corrects Dany's Dothraki, and like Dany says that she is really out of practice, and the servant girl says that, like, she doesn't even know Dothraki very well. Like, that's ridiculous. So then Darren shows up, and he holds a knife to her servant's throat and kind of backs her away and tells her not to scream or he'll kill her and all that junk. He says why he was sent here, and he was sent here to kill her, but then he also says that he doesn't want to, and then he opens his bag and drops the other 2 captains' heads on the floor, and in that moment I'm just like, yes! Perfect! Like, yes, this is going well, she's not gonna die, obviously, and like, this guy seems pretty okay, and then maybe she'll have his army on top of her army, and that's freaking awesome. Then Dany gets out of the tub, and she gets clothed, and then she asks him if he'll fight for her, and he says yes, and then he swears his sword, his life, and his heart to her, and I'm just like, yes, good boy. As per the preview of next episode, I'm not sure how good you're being, but so far you're not a bad dude, so thank you. And we're back to King's Landing. So it's morning and Shay like kind of bursts in to bring them breakfast, and they both kind of like startle awake and stuff, and then Sansa gets out of bed and goes to eat the breakfast and stuff, and then Tyrion's just kind of like watching Shay go around, and Shay goes to like look at the bedding, and there's nothing, like, she gets kind of like this little smile because she knows that, like, they didn't consummate their marriage, and she's just kind of like, oh, that's so good, because that would make her so much happier, and she kind of takes it and leaves. And I just really like the little smile she got, and I'm really glad because I really like her and Tyrion as a couple, and I really didn't want her to stay mad at him. So then we get back to a pair that we haven't seen in a while, and that's Sam and Gilly, and they're still on the move, and they kind of come across this little building, and it's getting dark, and Sam's kind of like, well, maybe we should stay here, and so they do, and then you hear all these, like, ominous crows and stuff outside. So Sam can't build a fire, and Gilly says that, oh, they can just keep each other warm under the firs, and Gilly gets kind of mad at Sam and decides she's gonna build the fire, and then she builds the fire in, like, 2 freaking seconds. They talk about naming the boy still, because they still haven't named him, and Gilly kind of doesn't know a lot of boy names, and she's listing a lot of last names, so Sam kind of lists her names, and he explains, like, last names and first names kind of thing, because I don't think she knows, like, anything really about that, which is, like, a little surprising to me. But I guess since she's been living with, like, those people her whole life, like, with her father and being bedded by her father, like, I guess maybe you wouldn't really know what last names were. So then the crows start freaking out outside, and I was just waiting for that this whole time. Like, I knew something was going to happen with those crows. Like, they spent a lot of time watching the crows come onto the branches, so you knew that was just, like, foreshadowing. So Sam hands Gilly back the baby and goes outside to look, and there's a ridiculous amount of crows outside on the tree. And then suddenly they all go silent. Like, dead, creepy, silent. And then Gilly comes outside and she's like kind of freaking out because she's like, shit, like it's coming for her baby and stuff. And then we see the White Walker leader coming through the forest there, and it's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, this is not the time for this. So then Sam draws his sword and he's like just waiting for him, and then the White Walker comes up and just grabs the sword and like freezes it or something, and it just shatters apart, and then he whips Sam aside, of course, and then starts going for the baby, and Sam like scrambles up and he goes to get the dagger that he found. I knew this was gonna happen, like I called this. He grabs the dagger out of his bag and he goes up behind him while Gilly's like screaming and the White Walker's closing in, and then he just goes up and he stabs him right in the back, and the White Walker screams. So the White Walker just collapses and then literally like breaks apart, like just is gone, like freezes, and it's like it just collapses into icy little bits. And then the crows start cawing again, and they then, like, Gilly and Sam just peel into the night, and the crows, like, fly after them, and it's just, like, very dramatic ending to the episode. So they need to go back to, like, the Fist of the First Men, I think is where you got that, and they need to freaking get more of those weapons, because those are going to be freaking helpful against the White Walkers. So that was a good ending scene to this all-around good episode, and it was nice to see that there's another way to kill the White Walkers, because White Walkers seem so unkillable except for fire. That's a very dangerous thing to be fighting with. So then we get the preview of the next episode, which actually wasn't on after the episode, which I thought was weird, but I watched it on YouTube this morning. So Rob's going to war, that much is pretty obvious, and Catelyn is really pissed off, and Rob's pissed off, so I wonder if something else maybe happened. Jon is being asked to kill crows, like, uh-oh, that's not good, that's not even really fair. And then I guess Castle Black is under attack or something, says Bran. And Dany is going over war plans, I guess, and it looks kind of like Darian or something might have been like holding her hand or something, so stop that. Dany is not yours, go away. And then Jorah says something about being led to the slaughter, him and Grey Worm, so I feel like Darian might have like kind of sent them to somewhere that would get them killed, so that would leave Dany more unprotected or something. So I think you're really gonna regret that if that's the case. Then Arya is threatening the Hound again. Then we have a bunch of other like awesome flashes of things, and there looks like next episode is seriously gonna be a bomb episode. So that was all around like pretty sweet episode. A lot happened. We got a bit of like action, I would say, and we got like some cool new things with the White Walkers, and we got to see a bunch of Dany, and we got to see the Second Sons, and I really enjoyed this episode. Like, it was really good. So I'm gonna have to wrap this video up, but as per the request of some of my viewers, I'm going to do reaction videos for the last two episodes. I was originally just gonna do the last one, but everyone made a really good point that in the other seasons, the last two episodes, like the 9th episode, has always been super dramatic and crazy. So that's actually a really freaking good point. So I'm gonna record my reactions for the last two episodes, episode 9 and 10. So I can't believe the season is ending. Like, it's crazy. It seems like it just began. But at least we know they're in the route for a 4th season. And they're also discussing right now doing all 7 seasons for all 7 books so far, so they freaking better. I don't see why they wouldn't. So for the reaction videos, I'm not really sure how you guys want me to do it. Would you like me to film like my reactions and then put them throughout my usual video, or make like separate reaction videos? Or like, because I don't really know how I do it, how you'd know where I was in the episode when I was reacting a certain way. I don't know if it would just be like funny. You could probably hear it in the background since I'd be watching it on TV, but I don't know, let me know in the comments below how you want me to do this, and I'm gonna do it anyway. So thank you guys for watching so much. This was a really like fun episode, so I really liked it. And thank you guys as always for watching. My name is Catherine Bogle, and like, comment, subscribe. And that was Game of Thrones Mondays, so thank you for watching.